What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Nerd Locker Podcast, Episode 4. Brandon here with Patrick and Jim.
What's up? What's up, guys?
And we are going to jump straight into area of expertise where Patrick has the area of expertise. Ghost in the Shell. I don't know how I worded that.
Yeah, the Ghost in the Shell trailer. So, where do I start? So this is something very near and dear to my heart, mainly because I started out watching Ghost of the Shell when I was stationed in Okinawa, Japan, and when I got there, Ghost in the Shell had just broken out, and it is absolutely one of my top favorite, if not my top favorite, anime movies, um, and mainly because it was a different, more adult, more complex story than most anime films I was watching at the time, and it just caught me completely off guard. The versions of the future weren't. It wasn't exactly apocalyptic, but it wasn't exactly great either. Um, the funny thing is, the U.S. is constantly referred to in the movies as the U.S. Empire, which I thought was kind of funny given these times,
our our current situation.
our current situation. Mm. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But on to the trailer. First of all, we have a huge problem. There's always been a huge problem since they found out that Scarlett Johansson was going to be playing the Major Kusanagi, which is the main character in the film. And the main problem was, Hollywood whitewashing. We talked about this a little bit on our previous podcast about Doctor Strange and how the Ancient One ended up being, who was traditionally a Japanese, not Japanese, but a Chinese or Tibetan monk type character, turned into Tilda Swinton. So, hey, it happened again, and it's kind of along the same lines as the Akira movie project, where it was supposed to be Jake Gyllenhaal as
Oh, what?
as Kaneda, which was
Oh,
like,
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the argument that most people have with it is that, well, the Japanese draw themselves as Caucasian characters and things of that nature, and I was like, that's not necessarily the case. They may draw themselves as different likenesses, but the names still remain Japanese. It's still a Japanese thing, and we people don't understand that people who have never lived in Japan understand, and people who don't understand the subculture um, don't understand that. And one of the funny things, and this is just a quick story. When I was in Okinawa, I asked a friend of mine who I used to race cars with, you know, why do Japanese animators always draw, Japanese people with, blue hair or green hair or who look very Caucasian or look very black, and why? And it was, he's like, how would you like to go outside, look around, and everybody looks like you?
Ah.
I was like, good point. Continue. And then that was the last time I ever questioned it. And then so it automatically made sense to me why, Japanese animators did that. And granted, that might have been just his perspective, but at the same time, it kind of put everything in context for me. So going back to Scarlett Johansson, though, don't think that was the right person to put in there. Um, After watching the trailer numerous times, I mean, when the full trailer released, outside those, was it 5 teasers they put out? I
Yeah, they
think
had
those,
a good amount of them.
you know, looked at the trailer and was absolutely floored in 2 ways, in good ways and bad ways. Good ways were the fact that, I get to see this film that I've obsessed over for so many years finally come to life, but bad in the way that they have completely not ruined it, but they've done a good job of torching it. And I like to call it the Zack Snyder effect, just because of Batman versus Superman, is a perfect example of somebody who says they're a fan, who says they get the material, who says they're doing this for the fans, and turn around and just absolutely destroys it. Um, and leaves some resemblance of the characters or the feeling or the vibe there, but completely just mishandles it. And I think this is what's happening now. Um, the trailer itself was very, very well done, very well shot. But I mean, right off the bat, there's an opening scene where um, Scarlett Johansson sits on top of a building and says, "This is major." Okay, me and my brother Sean is we just went over. We went absolutely ballistic over this because we know that scene. I believe it's from Standalone Complex, and it's the major. She is a noun, a person. It's not major in place. We just lost their shit, and now you've got like fanboys all over the world that are probably doing the exact same thing I did and wanted to huck the computer across the room after you saw the first 3 seconds of that trailer. Um, Outside of that, it looks like it's trying to smash um, three different storylines into
One movie.
one movie. And as we all know, once you start smashing, or trying to condense stories that are extremely complex and have multi levels to them,
Especially push it into a 2-hour movie.
yeah, and probably add some really bad slow mo moments. I'm just calling it right
Oh
now.
boy.
We're going to get some really bad slow mo and really bad speed ramping. I'm just saying.
Uh, when you were talking about just like the way it looked to the original, I don't know if you guys remember Nolan, who
Mm-mm.
contributed with us a few times from Roll 20.
Yeah, the table game dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
he posted a like side by side video that somebody put together of things from the anime and things from the trailer,
Hmm.
and he was pretty pissed off about this too. 'Cause he was like, What am I getting out of this as a fan? Like, if you're just gonna take the things that I'm used to seeing and putting it as a real person instead of an anime, like, why am I gonna want to have this?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's the thing. Is you gotta understand that the cult following that's behind Ghost in the Shell is ridiculous. Okay, next to the Macross and Robotech movies, I think me personally, I think this is one of the older, more well, not I wouldn't say refined, but I would just say older crowd of individuals that follow this movie. I mean, it's
yeah,
been out since 90. I think it came out in 95. So, Brandon was just a pamper
I was
shitting
just
baby.
well, no, not by well, maybe at that point, I don't know. I don't know. I could have been.
Right. And I was,
I want to say I was old enough to not be doing that, but I mean, I still could have been doing that at an older age.
true.
We don't know.
We don't know. But next to that, it kind of set the bar. And when you shit all over it and say it's for the fans when you're obviously making it for the studio,
Yeah,
we can tell. I mean, God bless like I said, Ryan Reynolds. God bless Ryan Reynolds, and he got it right. And people should be following that lead.
yeah. I feel like Marvel does a much better job of like doing things for the fans rather than doing it for like. I would say Civil War was for the fans,
Right. Oh, for
and
sure.
Batman Superman was for the studio.
Right. For sure, man. I mean, it always comes down to this, and that's the sad thing about filmmaking and fandom, right?
Yeah,
The studios don't understand, and Lord knows when they'll understand this. That if you continue to pump out shit that you think your committee of non-comic book reading, non-anime, lifestyle breathing people want to see, you're gonna get the same result, like over
yeah.
and over and over again. So, um, outside of that, last bit of the trailer. The mechanics, the CGI, stuff like that looked pretty good. I just can't get over Scarlett Johansson's face because she basically has the same look on her face all the time.
Yeah.
Even
I mean,
even
nothing against her. Like same with like Tilda Swinton. Like nothing against either of them.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they're
yeah.
both amazing. I mean, she killed it as the Ancient One, and I mean, I haven't really seen any Scarlett Johansson movies where I'm like, boy, she sucked in that. But I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying as far as like
Well, when you see it, you see Black Widow. I'm like, okay, and not saying that she's typecast, but
yet they won't give her a Black Widow movie.
right, just give the woman a Black Widow movie so she can get it all out of her system. I did like her in Lucy, though. I'll admit. I know most people didn't like Lucy, but I thought that was actually pretty cool.
I have not seen it yet, but
Really?
it's in my like pile of things I need to watch. I just
Right.
being that it's November, I find I'm done with my horror movie like super mega 3 month long marathon. Yeah, so it's like I'm getting back into like other things. So I'll get to it.
That's good. So you're gonna get into it. You said that you finally got around to finding some of these Easter eggs in Doctor Strange.
Yes,
Was
I
that-
went back and saw it a second time, and there were a few things I picked up on. So I went up to see if anyone had a list by now, and I saw a couple. The first one, and everyone, Jim, you saw it, right? Everybody's
Yes,
got it.
I've seen this.
Yeah, you got out of the
Yes.
house.
Yay, Jim got out the house.
I took James, and I don't remember if I told you guys, but we watched it, and it was awesome. He loved it. And, of course, away from me, the only thing he tells Allison is, yeah, and then they cut this dude's head off. So Allison comes to me, and he goes, what happened? And I'm sitting there going, what? I don't remember this scene. I'm like, of course, it was that first scene of the movie, and you don't even really see anything. I'm like,
Like,
James,
3
you are
minutes in.
sabotaging this for me, man.
That and be like, hey, you're ruining this for yourself, man. We can't see cool things like this if
Exactly.
Oh, we had that conversation. It's like, here's the things you can tell mommy and you don't tell mommy.
you have to have that. I mean, I remember having my dad having that conversation. Like, these are the things we don't repeat
Right.
because you like having fun, right?
Yeah.
So the first one, and I don't know if it's a reference for this character because there's a lot of things that happen in the Marvel universe. The first thing I did notice was the time that the movie was set up in, because you do see a clear shot of Avengers Tower, but you know that they relocate to,
Oh, the compound.
but like Avengers Tower isn't done. You know what I mean? Like it still exists, so it's possible that that's out there.
Right.
During that. And I looked up in a couple places, and they said this could have been any of the people with the hammer suits or anything like that. But because of the location that he says, when he's driving in his car right before his car crash, and he's looking for like the next medical thing he's gonna conquer, the guy he's on the phone with says there's a guy who was injured and he's paralyzed from experimental armor,
Mhm.
and that is apparently a War Machine reference. At the end of Civil War.
Yep.
Oh.
That was the first, but a lot of people are saying it because they don't really say how long he was in. Why can't I remember the name? It was for the whole time we were watching it. I just want to keep saying Namba Parat because
Yeah, I
it's
know.
so
So
much
do
more.
I.
It's so much more relevant in
Mhm.
DC comics. But when they're there, they don't really say how long he's been there. And
Comertage.
Comertage. There we go. They don't say how long he's been there, so they don't know, if this was. But they are thinking that that's the War Machine reference.
Yeah.
The second one is the Guardian in the New York Sanctum Sanctorum.
Mm-hmm.
In the prequel comic book, like Marvel usually does, it is established that is Daniel Drum, who is the brother of. They do say in the movie, Drum was killed. I forget what they call him, Brother Drum or Master Drum. Now, in the comic books, he is killed, and that is when Jericho Drum becomes Brother Voodoo, and they are linked together. So that does set that up perfectly for that to play in down the line, which I think would be
Awesome.
fucking great. I would love like a voodoo style Doctor Strange movie down the line. That would just be
Man.
cool
That'd be
as
epic.
hell. The third one, which was something somebody posted, and I it's kind of weird that they would do this because remember when they're going through the relics and Mordo pulls out the stick and he says, "This is the Living Tribunal."
Right.
The Living Tribunal is that godlike character with the big yellow body and the purple hood on his head. That's like,
okay.
so it is kind of weird that they took that and condensed it into a fucking stick. But that was just another one that was a weapon. This one is very, very loose, and I doubt it'll play into in the movies. But the one-handed master,
okay.
who he's credited as in the comic books is Wong's father.
No shit.
I don't think they're going to play into that in the movie. It kind of seems unnecessary, but that was just another little thing. And then the doctor at the hospital that's kind of like Strange's rival and fucks up his hands and everything. That's from The Oath, Brian K. Vaughan's story.
Yeah.
And he is the doctor that, repairs his hand shittily. I believe it's been a while since I've read The Oath, but I believe he gets into mysticism and they end up fighting and he kills him or whatever. Don't think that's going to happen, but that was cool that they took Brian K. Vaughan's story and kind of helped adapt that to the movie. And then Wong's weapon is the Wand of Watum.
Watum, that's it.
Because I remember you leaned over and you were like, "That's a thing." I was like, "Yeah, I can't
that's
fucking remember what it is."
That's the thing.
And then this is really cool because it does set up for more Dormammu. But when Cassidius and his followers get sucked up into like Dormammu's realm, they get all like burnt and their eyes are red and everything. And that is the Mindless Ones, which is like Dormammu's like army.
Right. Nice.
So that does set up that we could see him again. That was the majority of the Easter eggs that I found. I'm sure there's more, but that was definitely the.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys, one of the 4 or 8 people that are listening, if you can think of any other ones, feel free to shoot us something on our Facebook page to let us know.
Yeah. I'm all about these fucking Easter eggs now. Like half the time through a Marvel movie, I'm like, what am I looking for? Like, what's in the background?
That's pretty much all we all do. I think all of us sit there.
Thinking about it though, because we are looking at when this takes place. If you remember in Civil War, no, not Civil War, in Winter Soldier, when he's got that guy on the roof, he does say Stephen Strange's name is on a watch list.
That's right.
So it is very. Yeah, that's interesting.
That is.
So maybe it's not War Machine they're referencing.
Yeah, that could be the Justin Hammer incident then.
Yeah.
If that's the case, but at the same time, no, because he wouldn't. Stephen Strange wouldn't be on a watch list unless
until he goes to friggin'
Carmitage.
Yeah. Number correct.
Carmitage.
Next one we'll jump into is more. Well, actually, it's like mostly Marvel news this week. Inhumans. It was slated to be a movie for the longest time. It was going to be like the next big thing, and then I remember maybe a year ago they dropped it.
Yeah.
They said they still had plans for it, and now it looks like it's going to be a TV show with the first 2 episodes premiering in IMAX in theaters.
I feel like this is Marvel's one misstep a la DC in that they announced this whole slate of movies and most of them gone off with a hitch. They've even added some, like the sequel to Guardians. But this is the one thing that I feel like on their slate that they just were like, man, we don't know what to do with this film and these characters.
I think honestly, I think because they shit the bed so bad with the X-Men Inhumans crossover, that's the reason why. Because remember in the ramp up for this whole confrontation between Inhumans and the mutant population, Marvel was basically trying to hand over like the focus of their universe to the Inhumans, and I think because it went so bad. I mean, I read only like 2 or 3 of those comics. I was like, what the hell is this? And that's maybe where it happened. It just dropped off. It just fell off for them, and they couldn't get any kind of traction through Agents of Shield with the Inhuman storyline, which I thought wasn't that bad. Did you guys watch it at all?
The
Agents of Shield.
yeah, I've been pretty current with this season.
Well,
Surprise! I'm about a season behind.
Oh, so you're on the Inhumans season right now, Jim?
No, I guess I'm a little further behind. I'm like about 2 episodes in season 2.
Okay, yeah. So that's when that's the Inhumans like storyline where it really starts to pick up.
Yeah.
And they were cruising along with it, and they were doing really well. And then all of a sudden, the conductivity between the Marvel universe and the Marvel universe, the cinematic universe, and the Marvel TV universe broke, and that's where everything went haywire. Because if you were reading the comics, the Inhuman storyline was starting to pick up speed. The same time, the Inhuman storyline and the television universe was starting to pick up speed. So you have these 2 parallel storylines going, and it was a good marketing tactic on their part because you've got people who watch the show, turn around and go read the comic, right? And the only thing that happened though that really screwed it up was that the stories dropped on both sides. Very anticlimactic. The Shield series was great, but there was no tie-in to that year's movie, so people didn't get that big payoff that they normally get when you did with Winter Soldier, or anything like that. And I think that just kind of broke. They kind of broke their own cycle and just kind of fucked it up for them. So that's why, maybe that's the reason why Inhumans got. I wouldn't say demoted, but
I think it's a huge demotion. Like
right?
the whole talk of it being like the thing with the Inhumans, and especially like right now in the comics, they're really trying to push them. They're trying to make them bigger. And I thought that's why. And they really were using, they're currently using them and have been for a while, like, against the X-Men.
Right.
And it makes sense because they're both kind of these different race of people that are living on the planet. And, with the amount of Inhumans that exist, I feel like, there's been more stories into the X-Men, but I really thought that this was going to be their cinematic X-Men since they don't have those rights.
Right, and I think that's where they were going with it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's what they were trying to do. But, I did like the Inhumans being in the background though. That was always kind of their thing, they weren't in the foreground as much in the Marvel universe. Like I loved the shit out of Medusa and Black Bolt, and the fact that I was explaining it to my friends, like, well, how come he doesn't talk? What's the big deal? But, people who don't know comics and stuff, I was like, do you understand this man whispers, he shatters you,
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the thing I don't think you understand. And then when they were doing the Shield storyline with Inhumans, I was like, oh man, this is going to get good. Right.
I liked it, but I was hoping they saved it all for the big screen. I was like, don't blow your Inhuman load like on ABC. Like, let me see this shit. Like, you have fucking Thanos being the bad guy. Like, how can you not have Black Bolts come in and beat the shit out of him? Like, I was so hoping for that, and now it's just
gone. Like, because they made a reference to the. I don't know if you remember in the series, they make a reference to the elders. In the series, when they're going through like all these other Inhumans that are coming out of the woodwork, and the elders were supposed to be, your more senior, obviously, Inhumans. So I was like, oh, they're talking about Black Bolt. They're talking about Medusa. I was like, oh, and then you started thinking, it's like, wait a minute, that's not until Phase 4, so.
They're really going early on this.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of had well, they should have thought about baseball more. So,
nice.
So, I guess moving on, We had the what was it the now here's one thing though you can say about this the Fox Marvel trade. You know, because Marvel doesn't have all this rights and Fox owns the rights to the X-Men, which I hope will come back to Marvel sooner or later. Um, they did that article you sent over, Jim, about the Fox Marvel show was actually pretty cool.
It was cool. It was funny to read, and I'm not exactly sure that the timeline on this because obviously Deadpool came out this past February, so they're actually making the movie in 2015, um, and then Guardians of the Galaxy came out not too long before that. But when James Gunn was working on the sequel, I don't know, but he had come up with the idea for the sequel, was working on utilizing a character that first appeared in Thor. His name is Ego the Living Planet. It's going to be played by Kurt Russell. But he found out, after he'd already figured out all the logistics, that Marvel Studios did not own the rights to Ego the Living Planet. And in fact, he was more of a, I think, you and I, we talked about this. I'm not exactly sure how, but he's a Fantastic Four character, even though he first appeared in um, Thor. So that means Fox owns him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, just fortuitously, Fox had making Deadpool, they loved the name of the character, Negasonic Teenage Warrior, but
Warhead.
Warhead. I'm sorry, but they didn't like her powers. So they approached Marvel about changing her powers, but using the same character and name. And through just luck of the draw, they were able to make a trade so that she got the powers that we saw in the movie, and Marvel was able to get the rights to Ego the Living. They said borrow in the article, so I'm not exactly sure what that means. But Ego will be appearing in Guardians 2, again, played by Kurt Russell, with the idea that that will be Star-Lord's father, which I cannot wait to see how they pull this off. I thought the first one was so
Yeah.
genius how they did that. James Gunn, his storytelling. Have you guys ever seen Rubber?
Yeah.
I have, yes.
Yeah.
That's, to me, is just brilliant how you make a movie about a tire.
And I gotta tell you, that was an entertaining movie. It's not like it sucked or anything. Like,
Exactly. You mean if you go to tell somebody, no, you got to watch this movie about a tire, you're like, what?
What?
Yeah, like shut up, stupid.
Exactly. But it was great. And so I love his storytelling. I can't wait to see how he does that. But I just love this sort of behind the scenes that, there was no reason we should have ever known this, but it was great to hear it and understand, hey, these guys are working together. And like you said, Patrick, maybe someday Marvel can get some rights to some mutants. Who knows?
Yeah.
If nothing else, maybe they can get the rights to Fantastic Four because obviously Fox cannot do that correctly.
Oh,
But
jeez.
it's just nice to hear that they're working.
That is, it's funny you say both of those things because I read something the other day that now that it looks like Fassbender, was it McAvoy?
Yeah,
And Jennifer Lawrence, all their contracts are actually up.
Oh, yeah.
And Apocalypse didn't do nearly as well as they wanted it to.
Surprise.
Yeah. So they are thinking after Logan, they are probably rebooting the X-Men universe. Now, being that you have made more X-Men movies than any other, franchise of superhero movies, that seems like a big, oh, by the way, we're just going to start over now. Like, we didn't start over after 3. We dragged it out this long, but now we're going to start over. And it looks like they are going to, it was funny because you mentioned this. It looks like they are going to try to use Deadpool to kind of...
Oh, springboard it?
Yeah.
And that's what we talked about a little bit last week is maybe they don't do the X-Men we're familiar with, but they do a Deadpool getting Cable, exactly, bring in X-Force, which that's great, man. Do the Renegade Rebel guys because they're potentially more brutal, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
But that'd be cool, and they're different characters. But then, like you said, what do you do with some of these hugely popular characters like Wolverine?
Yeah, like I heard Bryan Singer's like holding on to doing the reboot piece and wanted to do another Dark Phoenix storyline. I'm like, no, dude.
Oh, and it does. That was the other thing is it looks like Bryan Singer is not at this time attached to any of these X-Men movies.
Yes.
So it does look like if they finish with Logan, they're just gonna, say, all right, that was that phase, and then try to come out better with all of this.
But does that mean, did Brett Ratner's name come up? Because
I
the
didn't-
last time that happened,
Mm,
it was awful.
I didn't see that attached.
Okay, because even though Apocalypse may not have been great, and I still haven't seen it, X-Men 3, which I still can't even remember the name, that was the
Last
worst
Stand.
thing
The
I've
Last
ever
Stand.
seen.
the best part of that movie was Kelsey Grammer, and then it was like, well, good thing that sucks, so we won't see it again.
Yeah, that's true.
Kelsey,
But
Kelsey,
I mean, that's something Marvel could be working towards. I mean, I think when you saw Spider-Man and it was Sony and Spider-Man or Sony and Marvel work out so they could use Spider-Man, and now the rumor of it's Fox that owns Fantastic Four, right? The rumor is that Fox and Marvel have worked something out to include Fantastic Four in the second, whatever it's going to be called now, Infinity War movie. That's not Infinity War anymore. I think they might be getting to this point where they're like, let's just all share this and be cool, guys. Like,
yeah.
be cool.
Speaking of Spider-Man, it was just announced that the Homecoming teaser trailer will be on Rogue One.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, it will be on the.
Oh,
Rogue
I didn't
One.
want to see that movie. Oh, well.
Yeah, darn.
I guess I'll just go for the trailer and then leave.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I was wondering what the guest situation was that press screening was for. But being that we just walked Patrick into Doctor Strange, I'm gonna be like, "Hey Jim, just tell me where it's at."
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I actually had a question back to Spider-Man. Do you guys remember they were talking about a Venom movie
Yes.
Yeah.
based more on like Agent Venom?
Yep.
Any ideas that's still going on? Because I'd love to see that.
As far as I know, because their original plans for all of that revolved around Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies, and after the second one, everything got thrown out.
No, the Venom one was separate because the Sinister Six, that was supposed to be, and they were going to do all those. But I thought the Venom one, that was one of the reasons why Sony still wanted the rights to Spider-Man so they could keep Venom and do a
Really?
Venom.
I was under the impression that anything Spider-Man attached was being reconfigured with the help of Marvel because
Interesting.
they
Okay.
couldn't get it right 5 times. So
I know.
you know what the most depressing part about that is Paul Giamatti, because he is fucking amazing and I love him, but it's like he's such a good actor. And then it was like, you're gonna be the Rhino, and he's like, cool, tagging on to this superhero franchise. And then it's like, okay, you're gonna be a small part in this movie, but you're gonna be huge in the next one. And then it was
Right.
like, hey guys, sorry, no movie.
So you would rather see him as Doctor Strange, what you're saying?
Yes, I want to see frumpy Doctor Strange.
No, like, yeah, I thought, you know what, I really thought Paul Giamatti was going to be the new Doc Ock when I first heard.
Oh, that
He
would
was
be
involved.
cool.
Because he would have made the nuttiest / scariest Doctor Octopus I've ever
He's
seen.
such a good actor, and like now I see him doing like commercials. I'm like, what
happened?
what's going on here? This guy's amazing. What is happening? I don't get that.
I don't
But I don't know. Maybe you could see, with all this other stuff, maybe they start just kind of bleeding everything together. You mentioned something too after Doctor Strange, and we were talking about like what his role is going to be in the big Avenger movies and stuff, and you were saying that he might help like reset everything.
Yeah, well, you think about it. So he has the Time Stone, right? The Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah.
And the way I see it is that, so Chris Evans, Tony Stark, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr.'s contracts are coming up as well. They've already talked about it. The Marvel brass have already talked about how, they never said that these people were going to play these characters forever, and they've always had the intention of replacing them. So, I think if they were going to do a reset, it would make sense at the end of an Infinity War, because now the universe is completely different. Things have changed, things have moved, and we might get that reset that will allow the viewer and the audience to accept somebody new.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot easier than doing a Zack Snyder and saying, "Well, fuck the TV show and fuck the movie franchise. We're just going to put the people we want in wherever we want,"
Yeah.
and just completely piss off a bunch of people. You know, so I'm hoping that's what happens.
I asked my friend if he was hyped for Justice League, and he's like, I wouldn't trust Zack Snyder to direct Traffic. That's like maybe the best. I don't know. This is the best thing I've heard regarding him.
Yeah. I completely agree with him. Wouldn't let him direct Traffic either.
Like, no, just get back on the sidewalk.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
So
go ahead.
yeah, I think what we're finishing up with is Westworld.
Oh man.
And it's all spoilers, so
Yes.
you could stop listening now if you're not caught up. I think currently episode 7 is out.
Yeah.
By the time we're recording this, so if you haven't watched episode 7 yet,
Stop right now.
watch it, and then come back to us. And then, of course, by this time when you're listening, episode 8 or 9 will be out. We'll be losing our shit again, so we'll just have to keep talking about it. But
yeah. Oh my god, that was such a mind fuck. It was by far.
what door?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Fuck. I had to rewind it and watch it again because when the camera panned. Okay, so let's set it up for the people here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
like to start it out. Well, to start it out, the episode starts out with Bernard talking to one of the robots, and he's kind of just going over his like system, like the way what he's remembering, what he's doing, and then he shows him all these pictures of like this
Life
giant
outside.
city of lights and like Times Square and all, like a bullet train and all this stuff, and he's like, do any of these pictures alarm you? And the robot just goes, no, I don't see anything or what does he say, like, I don't see anything
Makes
wrong.
sense.
Yeah, nothing looks wrong here.
Yeah. And that was like the beginning of the episode, and we still deal with the Dolores, and what was it, William? Is his name? The guy that's traveling with Dolores?
William.
Yeah, William. So we're still dealing with William and Dolores traveling on a train full of nitroglycerin. On the flip side, we have the dealings with the board, the executive board, sending their person into the park to discuss issues that they're having, because by now the board is aware that the revelry code that they put into the hosts is starting to have some negative effects. They're starting to remember stuff. They're starting to act out and do like all this crazy shit in the park that's pretty much sets the park off. And then there was another part. What was the other part? There was and Ford.
Yeah.
Ford. So I don't know about you, Brandon, but Anthony Hopkins in this series is like Hannibal Lecter and Steve Jobs had a baby.
Like he's so aggressive,
mm-hmm.
but he's just so chill about it. Like,
right. He's oh man, it's creepy.
We'll talk about a theory after we talk about the episode, but basically what happens is they bring in that woman from the board,
mm-hmm.
and she fires Bernard because they show that there's something with the robots that causes them to. I forget. It was like just something that causes them. Yeah. So he gets fired, and he was kind of fucked over by his lady friend, whose name I'm forgetting at the time. What is her name? The woman he's sleeping with.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he kind of approaches her later on in the episode, and he's like, "There's something I have to show you." From the preview, I know Jim's a little behind, so sorry to do this to you, Jim. But
it's okay.
Earmuffs.
They just unplug. And episode before, it turns out that Anthony Hopkins has like a secret family off the grid that is basically his family, like him as a
Right.
child and his little brother and his parents, and he created these robots just to like for like a weird memory thing.
Right.
So he's like, I have to show you something, and Bernard takes her to the house, and they get to the house and the robots are gone, and he was like, maybe he moved them. There's something I have to show you. I can't find it here. Maybe he moved them. And she says something like, well, what if they did this? And he goes, no, no, no. They only see what they're supposed to see. And with that, she says, what is behind this door? And Bernard just replies, what door?
Mm-hmm.
So they walk downstairs into this basement, and there is a machine that is building a robot off the grid. And why am I forgetting her name? The woman is all kinds of like
Freaked out.
she's like, what is going on with this? Like, why? How can he be doing this? This is messing with everything. And she picks up
Schematics.
yeah, and her face kind of gets like white, and she's like, what are these? And when you look at it, it is schematics, and it says Bernard on the schematics. And Bernard just goes, this doesn't, like, nothing looks weird to me. And then Anthony Hopkins is just standing there, and he's like, I run this place. Fuck you. Try to push me out of my company.
Yep.
And then orders Robot Bernard to murder her.
Yep.
So Anthony Hopkins has like a robot army, but he also has a secret robot army. This is what I like, because now we're at the point where you're going to go, who the fuck is a robot and who is not? Before it was very clear, and with that one scene, it was like,
nothing's safe.
Fuck. You don't know who's been replaced already. You don't know anything.
You don't know shit. And that, I think that was the purpose. It
was Teresa.
Yeah.
There we go.
Teresa. Yeah, so that was the thing. That's the problem with the show now, because now we have to go back and look at
the way everybody acts.
Yeah, the way everybody acts, the way they interact with each other, what's going on in the background, because fucking J.J. Abrams, he did the same thing to us with Lost, where he put stuff in previous episodes that relate to episodes in the future. And I know there's going to be stuff in there. I know there's got to be stuff in there. So
I don't know how true this is, but somebody was telling me every time Thandie Newton is drinking at the bar, it's a Radiohead song playing.
Yeah,
not just Radiohead. There's a lot of different covers. And
No. For her specifically, it's Radiohead.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Somebody said they read that on Reddit, and they were talking to.
I was all about that. Like, I kept looking up the covers and all that, because I would sit there. I remember the very first episode, "Paint It Black" is the song that's
right. Yep, playing.
Yeah.
On the piano.
I think there's a playlist on Spotify that has most of them. It's
funny you say that, because I was listening, and it was Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden, and I thought they were just ripping off using a bastard version of it.
No,
and I'm like, oh my god, no, they're actually playing the song. That's crazy.
As far as I can tell, the ones that have been covered are No Surprises, which is a Radiohead song, Fake Plastic Trees, which is a Radiohead song. What was the other one? They did do A Forest, which is a Cure song that I fucking love. I love that they're doing that, and I said to my roommate, I was like, dude, if Mondo doesn't do a vinyl of all of these, I would lose my mind. Like,
right.
This is exactly what they should be doing.
That's exactly what they should be doing. So okay, my other theory that I have is the alternate timeline theory. Have you guys heard about this one?
Maybe. I have a theory, but I want to hear what this one is.
Okay, so the timeline theory is that William and Dolores on the train right now that we see is actually William's actually the guy in black.
Okay, yeah, that's the theory I was going to talk about.
Yeah. So that's the theory, is that what we're seeing with Dolores and William is what pretty much pushes him to the point
of being the man in black and everything.
The man in black now. And it was, for me, it was kind of confirmed a little bit, because was the character Lawrence, the guy who was helping him sneak out with the nitroglycerin.
Yeah.
If you see what he's wearing by the end of episode 7, it's exactly the same shit he was wearing when the Man in Black picks him up.
Huh. Okay.
Same exact clothes, like the just the vest with minus the cowboy hat and guns and all this other stuff. And so you have Lawrence from that storyline to Lawrence where the Man in Black storyline. So I think
There's there's a few things I saw that are supporting that, and it's in the Westworld logo. Apparently, when that dude is giving his big presentation of like the new storylines he wants to do before Anthony Hopkins tells him to go fuck himself, which was like the most baller shit ever, because it was like he has this like 5 minute thing about how they're gonna change the park with this storyline and do this and that. Anthony Hopkins is just like, nah, dude. Like, what? He's like, nah, that's stupid. We're not doing it.
Nah, bro. Sorry.
If you look at that logo and any of the other times, it is different from the logo that appears when Lawrence first arrives. And I guess there's other times that you see people with jackets with the different logo, so there might be more to that past and present story. I got to rewatch all this shit. It's fucking ridiculous. Like,
yeah, after the what door that just
ugh.
that it totally screwed my head up, and I was like, oh fuck, now I gotta go watch the whole thing over again.
I was kind of like fading on the couch. Like, I was tired. I was just watching it. And then as soon as he said what door, I was like, what the fuck was that?
So, big question though is who are they making down in the basement?
I think that's going to be Teresa. I think that is replacing her.
I think so too. I mean, it's either going to be Teresa or some other character. And the other thing that supports that alternate timeline thing is the conversations. See, this is where it gets kind of funky, though. The conversations with Bernard and Dolores. Like,
well, she is still existing in the present, because there is. If you remember the first episode, because you think James Marston is a person visiting, and then he's a robot. Because the Man in Black finds her, says he knows her, and then grabs her to go off to the barn to what you assumed at the time was to rape a robot. Right. But you never see him do that. You just see him pull her aside and close the barn door.
That's true.
So, yeah, Dolores' timeline is the only one that's really fucking with me.
Because you have Dolores, you have Arnold, you have all these other players that are in play. And now that the timelines we're not too sure about it, but because you have Bernard talking to Dolores, right? And while Bernard's talking to Dolores, they're down in that secret shop.
And here's the thing now is Anthony Hopkins knows that he's been talking to Dolores.
Well, does he?
Yeah, because if you remember, okay, so there's the scene where the girl from the board. Mm-hmm. Teresa goes to her office and she's got that robot tied up to the bed or whatever.
Right.
And she says there needs to be a blood sacrifice, like speaking.
That's right. Yeah.
Like as a not an actual blood sacrifice, but she's like, someone's gonna get fired for this. Mm-hmm. And then Anthony Hopkins says he's like, I did this, that, whatever. And then Teresa tries to call for help and her phone's blocked. And he's like, I run everything. And then he says the blood sacrifice thing. So he has full control of every robot at every point in time in this show. Like
I think the chick from the board is a robot. I think that was his play.
Really?
To kind of like, if you beat the grass, the snakes come out. I wouldn't be surprised if that chick is not a robot. Now I just don't know. It's like everybody's.
See, I love it. It's all great.
Yeah, it's all a robot, and then you got like Tandy Newton's character trying to break out of prison. She's like jailbreak, and like not Tandy Newton. What's her name? Is it Tandy? Yeah, Tandy Newton. Yeah.
She's great too. Jesus.
She's really good. Scary good.
Yeah.
She'll cut a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
I just got to the point, like, every time she threatens one of those dudes, I'm like, why? At this point, I'd be like, my job's not worth this. Like, hey, by the way, this robot's defective. It's threatened to kill me twice. I quit. Just fucking, I can't do this anymore. Like,
Or yeah, when they bring her in, why don't you just shut her ass down?
yeah. Or just, like, once you put her back, just be like, listen, this happened. This needs to stop. I can't do this anymore. Were you both aware that the head of security is the other Hemsworth brother?
Really?
He's like the little Hemsworth.
He's the third. He's the third Hemsworth brother.
Yeah, he's like the bonus Jonas. He's like, I'm not as tall or as buff as my other brothers, but I can do acting stuff.
Yeah, I still have the square jaw, so I can.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm still handsome because I'm a Hemsworth.
Fucking genetics, man. Jesus.
Yeah. Sorry to do that to you, though, Jim. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully you just zone out.
I
and
blame
forget.
HBO. I only binge nowadays, and they don't let me binge. So
And
up there.
Netflix has ruined that for everybody. Like, here's the whole season of Luke Cage.
Well, see, that's-
Exactly.
I just record, man. And now that I've got DirecTV, I just record my stuff and sneak off and watch it when nobody's around. So I can watch all my Westworlds and Agents of Shield and stuff like that. So, dude,
I think that's every. I mean, it is cool though because I really think HBO is trying to fill the gap that Game of Thrones is going to leave with everybody.
yeah. There's gonna be a lot of sad people after. This is the last season. This is
I
supposed to be
think it's 2 more years.
2 more years of that. And
Yep. 2 more years.
That's it. I do have to say that the Bernard being a robot was like a Dead Stark getting his head cut off thing. Like that
Yeah.
was where that was because I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was on that level.
Because I remember watching Game of Thrones and I'm like, that's fucking Sean Bean. He'll live forever. Nope, not even the whole first season.
Yep.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, man. That's a good comparison because that Bernard being a robot's pretty much the off with your head, Ned Stark, execution piece. Because, man, I'm literally I can't wait till to Sunday to see what's going to happen next because Ford's a gangster and it's his world. You guys are just living in it,
Yeah. And Sunday's gonna be big. I had to go straight from Survivor Series into Westworld. It's gonna be crazy. Goldberg's back, you guys.
Oh, you're gonna watch? Oh, you're doing a survival series. You're actually going.
Oh fuck no, I can't afford that. But
say it, Jesus.
I'm just sitting at home. Yeah, I'm like, all right, guys, we gotta leave. I gotta get to the hotel room and watch Westworld. Goldberg's cool and all, but let's hurry this up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, that's awesome. And
Goldberg also doesn't look like he's aged. He looks exactly the same. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, because let's face it, he's been shaved most of his life, so you can't tell.
Yeah, that's true.
Why do you think I keep a bald head so nobody sees gray hairs?
I'm fucked on that. I let it grow. Let it grow too long. Everybody now knows I'm like gray at not even 30.
That's like the one thing I have going for me
No gray hair.
is blonde hair. It's like I still look pretty good with my hair. Like everything below my hair, not so good.
Like, at least I got this full head of blonde hair.
Yep, that's about it.
Suck it, grandpas.
All right, guys. I think
that does it.
Well, I do want to give one shout out real quick. This day, November 17th, 1978, Star Wars proved that the prequels would not be the worst thing ever made.
Oh
The Star Wars Holiday Special premiered back in 1978, and I think it should be required viewing for everybody.
No, you have to watch it once. Like you just have to get it out of your system.
Oh my God, yeah, and it's funny because there's really no way to see it other than bootlegs, and I've seen it on YouTube, but it's awful quality video, and that kind of adds to it.
Oh no, it definitely adds like a flavor that you wouldn't get if it were remastered. Like,
Yeah.
I think my favorite is just the heartfelt look that Han and Chewie's son share with each other at one point.
Yeah. No, that's, I'm good.
And
I
isn't-
believe it's Lo Baca. Is that his name?
Yeah, I think it is Lobaka.
I mean, it's great that they named all these like characters that would never be anywhere seen again, but it is known as this is the first time Boba Fett is introduced.
That is so
Oh, wow.
fucking
Really?
hilarious.
It was an animated version of Boba Fett.
No shit.
Actually, I see Lumperoo.
Oh, that's even better.
That's fucking terrible.
That's even better.
Lumperoo. Yeah, I see. Also known as Waru,
Oh, jeez. This gets worse.
who emerged from the shadow of. Get out of here, ads. I don't want you in here. Emerged from the shadow of his famous father, Chewbacca.
Wow.
Oh boy, born Lumper. Oh my god, what the fuck? Born Lumpa-Warump, also known as Lumpy, throughout his youth.
Wow.
Listen, we all love Star Wars, but we can all agree that not everything's perfect.
Right. Let's all agree that not everything's perfect.
Lumperoo. That sounds like something you would call somebody like in a mean way, like
Right.
that fucking Lumperoo over there.
Pretty much.
Oh, that's fucking terrible.
Anywho, I just wanted to give a shout out to that classic.
It is a classic. If for some reason you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's just something you have to be like, well, that happened, and there's no going back.
There's no going back. Just real quick, I want to say appreciation to, like I said, the 8 or 48 people that actually are listening to the podcast. If you guys have any suggestions, comments, questions, things like that, make sure you do hit us up on our Facebook and Instagram. And Twitter
Yeah,
pages.
please. We actually would like to start doing some questions here.
Yeah, I think that.
And here's the cool thing is I have no way of looking up how many people subscribe. So to me, it's thousands instead of 4.
Exactly.
Hey, Joe Biden, 61 people downloaded us this month. There you go. Broke your world.
Oh, holy shit. Was Joe Biden one of them?
No, I called you Joe Biden.
Oh, dude, that's like such a compliment now. Those Joe Biden memes are the only thing that's going to get me through like this Trump presidency. I love my phone is like now it's half of Joe Biden memes saved because I just like
Just look at him.
they
and
make
smile.
they make me feel better.
All right, now we can do the wrap.
Yeah, I think that's it for this episode of the Nerd Locker Podcast. Make sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. We'll see you guys next week. Till then, have a nerdy week.